Your phone just buzzed again. It is the family group chat. 43 unread messages, and you have not opened a single one. You already know roughly what is waiting inside. Someone's complaint about a wedding. A debate about pizza toppings. A meme nobody asked for. None of it threatens you. None of it can hurt you in any real sense. But your chest tightens anyway. Your thumb hovers over the screen, and for a second you feel something close to dread. You open 3 other apps first, just to put it off a little longer. This happens to you almost every week, maybe every day. And you have probably never once stopped to ask why a string of harmless text messages can make your body feel like it is bracing for a fight. That feeling is not random, and it is not new. Long before the first smartphone existed, your brain was already running a constant headcount of every relationship in your life. It just was never built to count this high. For most of human history, the number of people inside your entire social world was small enough to fit inside a single village. You knew their faces. You knew their grudges. You knew who owed you a favor, and who you still owed back. Every relationship came with context, history, and rank. A group chat does not work that way. It ignores hierarchy completely. It throws your boss, your cousin, your landlord, and a stranger from a marketplace sale into the exact same flat list, then pings you with the exact same urgency for all of them. Your brain was never designed to treat every one of those people the same. So when it cannot tell who actually matters right now, it starts doing something stranger. It treats almost everyone like they might. There is a name for the ceiling your brain was built with, a hard limit, found almost by accident, in a university office in the early 1990s. And once you understand that number, you will probably never look at an unread badge the same way again. In 1992, a British anthropologist named Robin Dunbar published a paper that quietly reshaped how scientists understand human relationships. Dunbar, working between University College London and later Oxford, was not studying phones or messages. He was studying the neocortex, the wrinkled outer layer of the brain responsible for complex social thought. Dunbar compared the neocortex size of 38 different primate species against the size of the social groups each species lived in. Smaller-brained primates lived in smaller troops. Species with more neural capacity for tracking relationships could manage larger ones. When Dunbar ran the human numbers through the same formula, the math produced one specific figure. 150. That is roughly how many stable relationships a human brain can hold at once. Not faces you vaguely recognize. Actual relationships, people whose history with you, whose debts and loyalties and old arguments, your mind can track in real time without losing the thread. Dunbar did not stop at one number. He mapped it into layers, like rings inside a tree trunk. About 5 people sit in your innermost ring, the ones you would call at 2 in the morning. Around 15 sit in the next ring out, the friends trusted with a real secret. 50 more make up the wider circle you would invite to a wedding. And surrounding all of it, the outer boundary of roughly 150, everyone your brain can still hold as a distinct, individual person, rather than a blur of a name. The number kept showing up everywhere Dunbar looked next. He found it in the Christmas card lists of British households, which averaged out at close to 150 names. He found it in the size of early farming villages, and in the Roman army's basic fighting unit, the centuria, built small enough that a commander could know every soldier personally. He found a modern version of it inside Gore, the manufacturer of Gore-Tex, which deliberately caps the workforce inside each of its factories at around 150 people, because past that line, the company noticed, employees stop knowing each other by name and start needing rulebooks instead of relationships. Every one of these groups arrived at the same ceiling independently, centuries or decades apart, without ever comparing notes. So what happens when technology lets you blow straight through that ceiling? In 2016, Dunbar went looking for the answer, this time inside Facebook. The platform let people collect hundreds, sometimes thousands, of so-called friends. Publishing in the journal Royal Society Open Science, Dunbar's team found something close to eerie. No matter how many friends a person added, the number they actually interacted with in any meaningful way still clustered around that same old figure. The platform had not expanded anyone's real social capacity. It had only expanded the illusion of it. And that illusion is exactly what a group chat quietly exploits. But here is the dark turn. A group chat does not simply add more names to your list. It strips away the one feature that made the original number bearable in the first place: hierarchy. In a small village 3,000 years ago, you were never expected to respond to everyone with equal urgency. A stranger's problem could wait until tomorrow. Your spouse's could not. Inside a phone, every message arrives wearing the exact same uniform. The same buzz. The same red notification dot. The ancient alarm system in your brain, the one that once scanned a clearing for movement in the grass, cannot tell the difference between a genuine emergency and your uncle forwarding a recipe. And there is no resolution built into any of it. An ancestral threat ended one of two ways: it passed, or it was confronted. A group chat never ends. There is always one more unread message sitting behind the one you just finished answering. Researchers studying chronic, low-level stress describe this exact pattern: a threat response that never gets the signal to switch off, because the input that triggers it never actually stops arriving. Your body still reacts as though the stakes are physical. Your pulse rises slightly. Your attention narrows. And it does this dozens of times a day, for relationships that, by every ancestral measure, were never supposed to share your attention in the first place. Step back far enough, and the whole picture changes. You are not anxious because you are bad at managing a phone. You are anxious because that phone is asking a Pleistocene brain to perform a task it was never built for, tracking hundreds of flattened, hierarchy-free relationships, all day, with no village elder around to tell you which ones can actually wait. The number 150 was never a limitation. It was a design, a working ratio, tuned across hundreds of thousands of years, for the kind of social world your ancestors actually lived inside: small, slow, and resolvable. Nothing about your nervous system has changed since then. What changed is the size and speed of the input arriving at it. You are running ancient software on hardware it was never tested against, and the mismatch is not your fault. That gap, between the brain you were given and the world you are now asking it to track, is not a flaw in you specifically. It is the same gap that everyone scrolling past an unread badge tonight is quietly carrying too. Your phone is going to buzz again tonight. And for half a second, before you even see who it is from, some very old part of your brain is going to brace itself, the same part that once scanned the edge of a clearing, just in case the thing moving in the grass was hungry. That is not foolish. It is just old. The number 150 was never really about chat groups, or Christmas cards, or Roman soldiers. It was always about how much of another person your mind can hold before it runs out of room. So the next time a notification lands and your chest tightens for no reason you can name, that is not weakness. That is roughly 150,000 years of memory, doing exactly what it was built to do. If you enjoyed this exploration, subscribe for more stories hidden in history, science, and the human condition. And until next time, stay curious.